This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. President Biden is back in Wisconsin today talking about a new student loan forgiveness program.
That plan would be more targeted than the sweeping program struck down by the courts earlier in Biden's administration, this time focusing on offering relief to borrowers facing financial hardship or challenges due to higher interest rates.
Michelle Franzen reporting. Local election clerks say they'll do their best to do their jobs and serve voters under two new constitutional amendments passed by voters last week. Wausau City Clerk Caitlin Bernard tells Capital City Sunday her office will do its best to run safe and secure elections. Private money is banned from boosting the ballot count. Bernard says she's working on backup plans in case she needs more money. Oral arguments are today in a Madison courtroom where a judge will decide if a group trying to recall Assembly Speaker Robin Vos will get more time to respond to his claims. The recall group wants to know which district Vos might be subject to recall in. The group's first effort failed when the Wisconsin Elections Commission ruled it didn't collect enough valid signatures. The Universities of Wisconsin has redesigned its website in hopes of boosting enrollment. The new wisconsin.edu makes information about enrollment and degree programs easier to find. It's the latest effort by the UW system to boost enrollment after nearly a decade of declines. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is giving $22 million to farmers who practice rotational grazing. Kevin Mahalko is a dairy farmer in Gilman. He says rotational grazing has helped him survive difficult stretches and keeps his costs down.
The cow is doing more of the work and using fencing instead of as much equipment. It cuts down on a lot of repairs and maintenance and diesel fuel.
Margaret Crome is with the Michael Fields Agricultural Institute. She says this kind of help is good for new farmers just getting started.
That technology and others that are emerging has made it a much less expensive investment than many, many approaches to farming.
The deadline to apply for a grant is May 26th. Southeastern Wisconsin is the best part of the state for catching a glimpse of today's partial solar eclipse. That includes Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, Lake Geneva, and Janesville. The forecast calls for clouds over much of the rest of Wisconsin, especially to the north. Wisconsin is not within the path of totality, so the effects here aren't optimal anyway. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. A popular Duluth restaurant has announced it will not be reopening for its 2024 season. According to a Facebook post, A&W Dubs has announced it will not reopen after health concerns have made operating the family business next to impossible. The owners of the drive-in restaurant in the Lincoln Park neighborhood thanked the employees for all of their hard work over the years and the community for their many years of patronage. They said they were lucky to have served the community for the last 46 years. If you're in northwest Wisconsin and you were hoping to see the solar eclipse today, the weather may not be cooperating. After weeks of building excitement about the eclipse, which would only be a partial eclipse in the region, rainy weather has spoiled the ability to see it. You may still be able to notice the difference when the eclipse period rolls around this afternoon, although without a break in the clouds, you won't be able to see the eclipse itself. It will also be another 21 years before the United States gets another eclipse of this magnitude. The city of Duluth is hosting public meetings regarding the water service lines in the Lincoln Park and Gary neighborhoods. According to a Fox 21 report, the city is hoping for community input on upcoming projects to replace the lead water service lines in the neighborhoods. The first meeting will be held at the Harrison Community Center at 6 p.m. on Monday night, and the second meeting will be held at the GND Rec Center at 6 p.m. on Tuesday night. The lead pipe replacements will affect nearly 350 homes in the area. Another business in Duluth's Lincoln Park neighborhood has announced it will be closing. According to a Fox 21 report, Little Nietzsche's on West Superior Street in Lincoln Park has announced it will close next month. The owner of the store and play place for toddlers was reportedly looking for a new owner when she found out her rent would double in 2025, but was unable to find somebody to take on the higher rent prices. It has been located in the Enger Lofts building since October 2021. It will close on May 19th. An Ashland woman was killed after being hit with a car while crossing the street on Wednesday. According to the Ashland Police Department, 68-year-old Rose Kozaneski was walking across Ellis Avenue near 7th Street when she was hit by a 66-year-old man. She was taken to a nearby hospital but died from the injuries she sustained in the crash. Authorities say the driver never saw Kozaneski as she was walking across the road diagonally from the median. Drugs or alcohol are not believed to be factors, and no charges were filed. If you're a cyclist in the Duluth area, you might be able to get a tune-up for your bike absolutely free. According to a Fox 21 report, an area bike specialist will be offering free tune-ups for anybody at the University of Minnesota Duluth every Thursday for the month of April. The tune-ups are separated into 3 categories: an A line for bikes that need air in their tires, a B line to make sure the bike's brakes are working properly, and a C line to make sure the bike's chain is properly lubricated and there's no mechanical issues. A Duluth man was indicted on charges of possessing child pornography this week. 27-year-old John David Degelau was arrested and charged after law enforcement authorities allegedly discovered child pornography images on his phone and an external hard drive. Authorities say Degelau also allegedly edited the pictures and photoshopped his own genitalia onto them. He appeared in federal court on Thursday and is facing 2 felony charges. Both local and federal agencies participated in the investigation. The Duluth Salvation Army has announced a new fundraising event scheduled in May. According to a Fox 21 report, the Black and White Ball will replace the organization's usual civic luncheon, which is held in November. Officials say they wanted to change things up and make the fundraiser a little more fun, giving residents a chance to dress up and interact with other potential sponsors. The Black and White Ball is scheduled for May 16th during Salvation Army Week, and the organization is still looking for more sponsors. And that's what you need to know. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
The Brewers rock Seattle. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers are in Cincinnati to open a 4-game set against the Reds after winning their weekend series over the Mariners. Milwaukee with a 12-4 victory yesterday, despite starting pitcher Colin Ray battling the flu. Pat Murphy.
Colin, as you may or may not know, was sick, had a stomach virus, it looks like, and had lost a lot of fluids in every way you can.
At 6-2, what's the team's mindset? Brewers pitcher Colin Ray.
We got to all come in here and not try and do too much. Just keep being aggressive and competing in the box, competing on the mound.
Mariners pitcher Colin Snyder had to leave in the 4th after taking a line drive to his left knee.
Yeah, it's a contusion. He got smoked. I'll give him credit for trying to stay in there. He knew where we were at with the bullpen.
Manager Scott Service. NBA, the Bucks lose again, this time 122-109 to the Knicks. Milwaukee's now lost 4 in a row at home and 6 of their last 7 games.
We have, 4 games left? And all playoff teams, maybe that's a blessing for us. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
That's the Bucks head coach, Doc Rivers. Is it a lack of effort? Damian Lillard.
If you let teams start to believe and feel good about themselves, runs happen. I think that's kind of been the story of these last, 4, 5, 6 games. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better.
The Bucks host the number 1 seed Celtics tomorrow night. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Maggie Gyllenhaal's latest film is a monster. Gyllenhaal is directing The Bride, which stars Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. The New York Post reports the director shared photos on social media of the Oscar-winning Bale and castmate Jessie Buckley. The Bride is the second directorial effort from Gyllenhaal and is expected to hit theaters in October 2025. And so you're telling me there's a chance news. Modern Family actress Sofia Vergara and her husband have reached a settlement in their divorce. Vergara says the split happened over a disagreement about having children. She has a 32-year-old son from a previous marriage and doesn't want to go down that road again. Vergara says in her next relationship, she's just hoping for a meat and potatoes guy who is average looking and doesn't make that much money. You almost believed that, didn't you? Michael J. Fox says he would love to act again if someone would offer him a role. The 62-year-old actor who has suffered from Parkinson's for decades now says he is not ready to retire. The actor says his priorities have shifted and he has been focused on family in recent years, but he remains optimistic that he will act again. Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld creator Larry David says it's inappropriate to recline your seat on an airplane, and if it were up to him, they would do away with the option because he says no one wants to look at your head, adding that no one should lay back into a person's lap. David ranted about the procedure on The Rich Eisen Show. When Eisen said that's why the button is there, David said we should eliminate those buttons. Personally, I think we should put a stop to people who go barefoot on planes first. Pat Sajak will be giving the wheel a final spin in June. The 77-year-old Wheel of Fortune host is retiring after 40 years. In his time as host, Sajak has been nominated for 19 Emmys and won 3 times. Sajak has agreed to stay on as a consultant for 3 years. 3 years? How hard is it? Spin the wheel, buy a vowel, say aw, and pretend you care when some idiot lost because they guessed an X. Sajak's last episode will be June 7th. Taking over for Sajak will be Ryan Seacrest. Seacrest said, "It's been a joy to watch Pat and Vanna," translation, mostly Vanna, for the last few decades. Letter-turner extraordinaire White agreed to stay on the show after a pay dispute last year, after which she received her first raise in 20 years. White's time at Wheel predates Sajak. She's been turning letters since Supernut Job Chuck Woolery was the host. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly cloudy with a few scattered showers off and on through the day today and into this evening. Our high near 52 this afternoon. The wind southwest at 10 to 20. Tonight, showers 40. Tomorrow, clouds and sprinkles in the morning, then clearing in the afternoon, 57. By Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high of 65. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it's 42.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio.